Hi, I'm Sheena Joy. I'm a macrame textile artist, and I'm here to simply inspire you to do the same. If that's your jam, then subscribe and hit the bell notifications. To get started, we're going to be working off of our larger piece of cord. To make it easier to work off of, I'm just tying it onto my rolling rack. Next, tie all 23 cords using a lark's head knot. There are only 3 different types of knots in this project, which makes this project super easy for the beginner. Once all 23 cords are on, we can take down our working cord. So you want to bring the 2 ends together and pull them through our ring. Be sure to leave about an inch and a half gap between where our lark's head knots are and the bottom of our ring. And then we're going to tie square knots that go all the way down between this gap. This happens to be the most trickiest part of this entire project. Once you get past this, then it's smooth sailing. And don't worry if I'm going too fast for you, I do have a knot tutorial playlist that I will link for you in the description box. Okay, so once you have the first half of your square knot tied, it's easier to adjust from here and then tie the other half of your square knot. See, it's really not so bad. It's just a little finicky to work with. Okay, so carrying on, we're going to tie a series of square knots to join where our lark's head knots are. And she should look something like this. Next, we're going to work on the back side by flipping it over. And then we're going to be tying a whole series of square knots. So for the first square knot, we're going to be using the same 2 cords that we were using to start, and then we're going to grab another 2 cords, one on opposite sides of our project. And this forms the first square knot of our pod. I'm going to carry on in real time for the next 2 rows, and then I'm going to speed it up. So let's alternate our square knots by dividing our original square knot in half, and then we're going to take the first 2 cords, and then we're going to take 2 cords from the side where our lark's head knots are and tie our next square knot. I hope this makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if you're following me here. So we're going to do the same thing again, but on the opposite side. We're going to take the other half of our original square knot, and then we're going to take 2 extra cords from our lark's head knots and tie another square knot. Because we're taking 2 extra cords on opposite sides from our lark's head knots, this will increase each row by 1 square knot, which in return will create that pod shape. Okay, so you grab 2 cords from the previous square knot and 2 cords from our lark's head knots, and then tie another square knot. And then we're going to keep going around and tie our next square knot here. And then with our last square knot, we're going to use the next 2 cords and then incorporate 2 from our lark's head and then tie another square knot. And then we're going to just keep repeating this until we get to the very bottom of where our lark's head knots end. If you happen to use any of my patterns, please tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see them. I'll give you a shout out and add you onto my highlight reel. Also, if you have any project requests, I'd love to hear them. Just leave them in the comments below. Alrighty, so now we're reaching the bottom of our project here, and this is what it should look like. Because I want a potted plant to fit in this, I'm going to add 3 more rows just to add depth. Because we incorporated all of our lark's head knots, these next 3 rounds are going to be super easy. My pod here fits a tiny 4-inch pot. If you want your project to fit a larger pot, all you have to do is increase the amount of lark's head knots that you originally used. But in order to make the math work, you have to make sure that it's in multiples of 4. and that's including your large lead cord at the very beginning. Okay, I have completed all 3 rounds and it should look like this. And lastly, with our small 40-inch cord, we're going to tie a gathering knot. Feel free to check out my knot tutorial playlist if you're unfamiliar with your knots. So I'm just going to snip off our little excess piece of cord, and then I like to jab the tail ends right inside of our gathering knot. And the final step is to trim his little tail, and then voila! If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more. Also, here are 2 more videos I think you'll enjoy. I'll see you over there.